Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Voices in My Head, episode 28. Boy, we're really getting up there in episodes, aren't we? Oh, yes, my brother, we certainly are. And today we are meeting with Dion Audio, or at least several of the people from Dion Audio, because we couldn't meet with the whole thing of Dion Audio because the other ones got to work. These were just the ones who didn't have to work today, or already worked and are doing this on their own time, or something like that. But anyway, a bunch of really nice guys, and you're going to get to talk to them right now. Go, Basil.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to Voices in My Head. I've got the guys from Deyan Audio. Now, I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly, because I've heard so many people pronounce it either Deyan, Dion. How do you pronounce it correctly?
Dion.
Dion.
Yes, Dion.
Yes. Okay. Like the 50s singer, D-I-O-N, except
Exactly.
spelled better.
Celine Dion.
Okay, there you go. Celine Dion. That's a nice visual to have while we're doing it. Okay, so you guys are a pretty big company. I mean, I was reading up on you online, and I've been familiar with the work that you guys do for many years, and I was pretty impressed with where Dion came from and where you guys are now. And so could one of you explain a little bit, what is Dion Audio, and how did you guys get to where you're at, including the offshoot companies that are out there now?
Jorge's been our longest.
Well, yeah, I've been the longest here. I started with the company 10 years ago. They had already 15 years in the industry. And Dion Audio started as a family company between Bob and Deborah Deyan. And Bob was passionate about audiobooks, and he wanted not to read them, but to direct them and produce them, right? So the company started working mostly in post-production, editing, doing quality control, and Bob started getting him a name for being a director, so working with celebrities and all that. And when I came to the company, they wanted to start doing more books in Spanish, and that we were going to talk about that later, but that's how I became, with the company. Right now, then we did the change to be more production facility where we had our own studios, and now we have 9 studios total in 2 facilities in Los Angeles. And it's just been like, I think that the key part of this company is picking the right members for the team, and the training that we do between ourselves. As like I teach somebody, and that somebody develops their own skills, and they're like, okay, now I'm passing them on. So I think that's part of the key of the success of the company.
That's been a key thing I've seen about Dion, is the training and the like the Dion Institute.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Well, I teach a class at the Institute for Pro Tools, the production side of Pro Tools, and the post-production side. So it's mostly the classes that I teach is mostly for home narrators that want to, record themselves at home with Pro Tools software and want to do their own editing at home with Pro Tools software. And but we have other classes, taught for basically voice acting for audiobooks specifically. So, and just a lot of different classes of different levels of that.
Yeah, there's like 3 different levels for that, like beginner, intermediate, and I think experts third.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you guys like take the initial ACX first timer, and you got a space where you can teach them this is how you get your feet on the ground, all the way up to guys like myself that have got 70, 80 books out there, and then beyond that to people who have more and want to be able to get a much higher ratio.
And I will say, even before the ACX stage, people that have some background in voice acting, but nothing to do with audiobooks.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, all those tools about voice acting, this is how they can be of use in audiobooks, or these are the new tools for audiobooks.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different animal reading, voice for audiobooks instead of just a regular voiceover type of job.
Right. Yeah, it is a totally different deal. I used to do voiceover, strictly commercial voiceover, and then was a radio talk show host for a long time. and then was doing this as a hobby, and now this is all I do. But yeah, they're totally different animals on all three sides. Do you guys see a lot of voice actors that have a difficult time, or radio people that have a difficult time getting into audiobooks specifically, or vice versa?
Well, actually, I would say that's every now and then you'll meet somebody who comes from a long career in voiceover or something and thinks that will just transfer, one-to-one ratio, same skills, same idea. And then they get into the booth for the first day and they work with the director. And usually by the end of the first day, they come out and they're like, they look like they've just been through a basketball game or some sort of long-distance running competition. And wow, I had no idea.
I had an author I was recording. I'm still recording the last couple books of this series for him. And about a year ago, he said, I think I want to do the rest of the series myself after I'd done the first book. And I said, well, okay, it's your series. I mean, I've established the characters for you, so you might have a hard time with having all different voices in the second book in the series, but it's up to you. And he tried it, and 2 weeks later he got back a hold of me and said, never mind, this is too much like work. And he sent it right back to me. It's so good. It's 7 books. It's making me some decent money. So
yeah, what I found is, for commercial voiceover and specific types of voiceover, you use specific tools, right? But mostly for commercial, there's like 3-5 things that work, and if you do that all the time, you get used to those things. In an 8-hour, 10-hour story that you have to tell, if you just use those 5 tools, you're gonna get a pretty boring narration, right? So I think it's doing less and just actually tell the story, where these people, that find difficulties, that's where they're like, oh, so I can't use this that works every day? No, you just need to tell the story. And I think that's where the conflict starts.
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, you guys do, the company itself has got many different facets to it from what you do. And you guys have like we said, the Dion Institute. You have Game Changer Studios. What is that? That's something new that came out recently, or
Game Changer started actually from a book we did, and we like the name, and we're trying to portray our company as a voice-over production company that we specialize in audiobook production, but we don't do just that, right? So Game Changer we're trying to establish it as a company for video games, but we're trying to branch everything that is non-audiobook into that company. Educational material, ADR, voiceover, commercial voiceover, dubbing, and all those different things that we could do as a voiceover studio, just not the audiobook business.
It seems like there's a lot of that, especially the video game acting, the video game voice acting is really becoming a big chunk of the market. How is that building for you guys?
It's a slow process, because right now what I'm seeing is the video game industry is really similar to the music industry, where the big guys have the money to go to big studios, and the medium to small guys buy a booth and do it themselves. So I think we are in that middle place where we're trying to say to clients, hey, we can do a pretty professional work without the big budget, So it's taking a little time, and also it's a different industry. We need to go to conventions, start meeting people, all that part. So but I think we have the right team of people and the talent. I think the key of everything is, talent as yourself, that we can say we count with all these big pool of talent from everywhere, and people. I think that's one of the most impressive parts that we offer.
Okay, very cool. Now, so an actor comes to you, gets on your list. How does a person get on your list of talent?
Well, there's, I suppose, any number of ways that a person could end up on our radar. The simplest would be simply knowing someone who's worked with us before, who maybe would give them a recommendation. Sometimes when we're trying to cast a particularly difficult or complex book, we'll send out blanket emails, open casting calls, and we meet a lot of new people through that. And even though maybe only one will eventually get cast for that first book, there's a lot of new people in our system now who we can keep in mind for things coming up in the future. Some people just look us up out of the blue and send us a demo.
Some people contact us on ACX as well. We have a profile on there.
People from the Institute as well.
Yeah.
Right? We have people that are starting or we don't know, and they take the classes, and then the teachers are like, you guys need to get this guy in the roster,
I've pointed a few readers from my classes.
So you guys aren't just hiring, local talent that can come into your 9 booths that you got there. You're casting the net farther than that.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
Oh,
Pretty much, if they have a home studio or just access to a studio wherever they are, then we're willing to work with them. Because we can just do the files on an FTP on our server, stuff like that. So.
Exactly.
With the technology nowadays, it's so easy to work with anybody from anywhere.
Right.
We're doing a podcast,
Yeah, just like this. I mean, here I am in Anchorage, Alaska, enduring 75 degrees of heat, while you guys are down there in, 150 or something?
Yeah,
it's like over 100.
Oh, jeez. No. This past weekend I went kayaking with my wife and son and one of her cousins. And we all ended up, it was great. It was like 75 degrees or so. It was nice. And we got into the river, and it was running. My son was like, this is running a little faster than normal, Dad. We should be careful. We got about 100 yards down, and I crashed and lost my kayak. My son zipped past me and grabbed the kayak and one of my sandals. And then my wife crashed, and her cousin crashed. My son was the only one who survived and was saving all of our gear as we're going along. We got out of that water. The water was like 36 degrees.
Yikes.
Coming out of the mountain. So you got it's 75, and part of your body wants to sweat, and the other part of your body is getting hypothermic.
Yes.
So at that time was the only day that I could think of in the recent history that I would have killed to be in California in the hot sun, at least a couple of
I don't think so. Yesterday I saw my phone and we hit 111 here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, exactly. So
I was stationed in San Diego in the Marines back in the late 80s, so I've experienced some of it, but I didn't want to go back. So you got someone's casted. And what kind of work do you guys do pre-production wise to get people prepped for a story, or does the reader, you just send them a text and say, okay, here you go, you're on your own, and send us the finished copy or whatever? How does that process work for someone who's been casted for a story?
So once a reader has been chosen as a narrator for a book, we obviously, there's the basic official paperwork and things like that, but we send them a script, either the final version or sometimes it's just a prep early version of the script, and we ask them to, read through the whole thing before they come in to record, make sure that they highlight anything they think might be a problem pronunciation-wise or character-wise, or maybe there's a weird accent that someone in the book has. Just kind of making sure that they know the book. They don't need to remember every single page, but they need to know, the basic plot points and make sure there's no surprise endings that they didn't see coming.
Right. At the end of the book, you find out the main character was Scottish.
Yeah, we don't want that coming up on page 300.
Yeah.
like if it's a sequel book, see if we need any character references from previous books. Word list is a big part of it as well, right?
We have a research department. We have someone on our team who will usually look over a script and also prepare words that look strange to them or just seem outlandish. And they've been doing it for a while, so they've got a good idea.
Right.
And they'll help do the research and do proper pronunciation so that everything. Once the reader comes into our booth to record, we want it to be nothing but focused on the performance and just getting the words and story told very well, I suppose.
Very good. And you guys work with a lot of you guys. I guess you could say subcontract from a lot of other publishers as well, right? I mean, you're getting work from Blackstone and Audible and those guys.
Yeah, we I think we consider ourselves a production company, and our direct clients are the publishers.
Yeah.
Right? And from there, there's other other producers that sometimes, they send a narrator our way because they are here in Los Angeles, and it's a New York producer that wants to use us as recording studio only. So and now with ACX, we're working directly with authors and readers, right?
Yeah, we actually get a lot of good stuff from ACX. A lot of narrators that they get hired to produce the whole book, and if they're not necessarily, they don't know editing and mastering and things like that.
They're too busy, right?
Yeah, or if they know how to do that, but they're just too busy because they're stacked with books.
Oh yeah. I can identify with that.
Yeah.
Even if I'm fully producing something, I'm hiring someone to do it because no.
Yeah, so we get a lot of work that way as well. So besides the big publishers, we have a lot of independent, whether it's a smaller publisher or just narrators or producers, things like that. Just need to, authors as well.
You guys are truly like an across-the-board.
Yeah.
Give me your books and we'll make it good for you.
Exactly.
We'll take care of any part of the production side that you need. That's pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
any stage.
Yeah, some people will just hire us only for the mastering, or only for the quality control. So we get a lot of those things too. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. So that post-production thing, you guys, I've seen a lot of your advertisements out there for it recently. You guys are really ramping that up quite a bit and getting a lot of calls for that.
Oh yeah, it's very, very busy. I'm the one who kind of takes all those calls and emails and sales, things like that. And it's definitely over the last 6 months or so, it's kicked up big time.
That is excellent.
And that's how all of us started in the company as editors.
Yeah.
So I will say is the maybe one of the most intense and knowledgeable fields of the production part for us. So if you want to talk editing, we can talk all day about it. There used to be a Facebook group called I Hate Mouth Noise. So.
Man, yeah. Well, I can attest. Starting off, I did the first couple of books I did were my own books, and I did the whole deal. I wrote them, I narrated them, I edited them, did the post, did everything. And after about 4 or 5 books like that, I'm like, this sucks. I just want to act, man. And so it's awesome that you guys have that service and that it's building up for you so well, because it makes such a huge difference when you have something that's properly edited and properly mastered that sounds good. You may have a great actor, but if you're hearing noises and pops and cracks and what's the primary what advice would you give to a narrator who's sending to you a product that you're going to be editing and cleaning up, and you're charging them, I'm assuming you're charging them by the man hour?
We do by per finished hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give them to have for the files that they send to you?
So much advice.
Yeah. Wow, where to start? I mean, first, I guess just get the specs right. 16-bit, 44.1K mono wave. I mean, mainly just if they're doing a roll record, but they want to clean it up a little bit by taking the extra takes out, because everybody has different techniques to the way they record. Some people do the snaps. So maybe just clean the audio up with just a little bit.
They will save money that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because it doesn't matter to us. We'll edit the roll record or punch record, whichever way they're recording. But obviously the rates are different for that. So, if they want to clean up the audio a little bit, it'll save them some money.
I'll say also file management is very, the way they name their files, making sure everything is consistent, because once they send it to you and when you open the file, you're like, okay, this person knows exactly what they're doing. Yeah. Everything is labeled the same. Everything looks good. But sometimes you open and you're like, I don't know what this is. And then the puzzle starts, and it takes time and all that.
Even before that, I think make sure you're recording in a quiet space, and make sure you're getting good level to your recording device. That's number one. Don't worry about EQ and compression and all this other crap. Just make sure you're getting good level and your environment is as quiet as you can possibly get it.
Right. Well, that's very cool. Spanish language. You guys have a separate branch. Now, I know a lot of publishers, a lot of production companies do in multiple languages, but typically not as a an additional branch to the company. That pretty big demand, I'm assuming.
You know, and as I told you, that's how I got hired.
Mm.
You know, they were looking for a Spanish producer. This was in 2007, right? At that point, we did a couple of productions, mostly the QC part for Random House, and then we did some kids books, but you know, there wasn't like books like we did in English, right? So that's how I started editing and QCing and directing in English, because there wasn't enough material in Spanish. I'll say the last 3 years we've seen like a big increment in titles that we're doing and the quality of titles we're doing. You know, like last year we did maybe 20 to 25 titles. And you know, we started seeing like best-selling John Green titles. We did a Steve Jobs biography, and now we are doing Spanish or original Spanish works from big writers like Garcia Marquez or Vargas Llosa. That, you know, I'm thrilled about it. So now we have a great pool of talent. We have I sold one person from PreProduction in English. Now she's with me. We have a couple. We have a good amount of editors as well, proofers. I'm directing and I'm training a couple of new directors as well, because the increment's just been like, it's great. I mean, it's small, but it's growing for sure.
Nice. So is that being marketed both? I mean, I know there's a huge Spanish-speaking population in North America. Is that being marketed throughout the Spanish-speaking world?
Yes, I'll say right now everything is looking in here in the States and in Spain, and from, you know, because of Facebook and Audible goes to everywhere, iTunes as well. So they are getting specific branches of the publishers. Like I know Argentina is doing a lot, Mexico is doing its own productions, in Chile as well. You know, and they are taking. Last year we worked for a couple of them as well. So it's starting to be global, but for sure, United States and Spain are the big pushers for this.
And also something else that's kind of interesting too is other languages, you know, besides English and Spanish, have been kind of kicking it up a little bit too. So, you know, recently we've been building up our German casting. We have like a lot of German narrators now.
Wow.
Mandarin.
We've done some Mandarin work.
Huh.
You know, so what is it? Farsi. Yeah. You know, so yeah, we've had a lot of other languages starting to come through.
So when are you guys taking over Bollywood?
You never know.
You know, it's funny. My wife is Korean, and she just started getting into audiobooks. Started listening to some English ones, and then found some Korean ones, and she'd never even known they existed.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the audiobooks are kind of taking the world by storm everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's just so much easier than reading, you know.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Especially out here or anywhere where you have a long commute. You know, it's so convenient.
Absolutely.
So, just to listen to that
entertainment without having to listen to all the political stuff on the radio all the time.
Yeah, or no commercials too, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Now, you teach classes in Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Do you guys prefer your narrators to work with Pro Tools, or do you take whatever WAV file they send you and you do Pro Tools?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they're using at home is fine. But once we get into like narrators that call us for help with whatever software they're using at home, sometimes it's hard to help them because we're working on Pro Tools all day, every day, and it's difficult for us to go and learn, 10, 12 other programs that are available.
Right.
So,
I've been an Adobe Audition user for 10 years.
I mean, but as long as you know,
Pro Tools scares me.
I can help you there.
I might have to take you up on some classes on that.
As long as you know your software, though, and you can deliver us files that work and sound fine, then we'll take it from there.
Excellent.
Yeah, there was a tech talk that I was part of in the APAC this year, and there was a discussion about DAWs and what to record on and everything, and everybody agreed on that point. Just if you're starting in this industry and you're not sure which one to use, maybe start from one, try the other one. There's demos available, and once you're like, okay, I like this one because ABC thing, price, productivity, whatever, then just learn it.
Yeah.
And if you are proficient in that one, I think you'll have a good time working on it, and you can forget about it.
Yeah.
Right.
We one of the things we do here is we have booths set up as self-record, right? And so we teach the narrators in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, I'll say, just how they can do the recording by themselves, right? So, but one thing that I do is I set up the monitor for the computer on the side, and I say, once you see it's recording, forget about it.
Yeah.
Because people, when they're recording by themselves, I've seen like they are just looking at the computer and they're forgetting about the text. Like, no, just if it's recording, forget about it and just read the story.
And that's for like doing it like a rolling record where you're just stopping and restart. You're not doing a punch record that way, but yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So how do you guys see the future of Dion? What do you see coming up as the next big step for you guys?
Let's see. Well, I mean, the audiobook industry has just been getting bigger and bigger every single year. I mean, the numbers prove it. So, we definitely want to stay prominent in the audiobook industry, with our reputation that we have, and keep that up. But as far as branching out into other things besides audiobooks, that's where like Game Changer kind of comes in. Just to get any type of voiceover work that's not audiobooks,
Right.
Anything like that. We do a lot of, because the industry's changed over the recent years. A lot of things are being done at home and things like that. So, I mean, that's another service that we do, is we do a lot of home consultations to narrators that are at home and are having issues. And we're able to even do that remotely, whether if they're in Alaska or wherever they are, we can help them out, with pictures, video, get on the phone with them, things like that.
Right.
Yeah, I think as he said, our idea is, to keep working in the audiobooks, because, I mean, if you ask me, I really like it. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities because of the people we know. The actors that we know, this big pool of talent that we work with every day. So we're trying to get into different markets from what we have, the infrastructure and the great team of people we have, and just start working different things. And I think also adapting to whatever comes, because we can plan and say this is what we're going to do, but then, something changes in the industry, something big happens. And then the ability to say, okay, now we're going to do A, B, or C is important. And we're trying to keep our eyes open always for those things.
We recently looked into doing an audio tour at a museum, for instance.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we're working on. Audio tours, city tours.
Something for like the, what do they call that, the Google Glasses thing, or the...
Even just the headphones.
Oh, just the headphones. Okay.
Yeah, they just put the headphones on, and they have like city tours like that now too, where you just put the headphones on, and it'll tell you like where to go and stuff like that. And
so while you're in the city.
Yeah.
Okay. I was picturing like a virtual tour. What's that thing for the Oculus?
The Oculus. Yeah.
Put that on, then a bunch of people staring into space, thinking they're in that city, and.
But yeah, that and podcasts as well. Podcasts are just getting bigger and bigger. So that's another thing that we're looking into as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's been over the last decade, there's been some major paradigm shifts in the entertainment industry in general, and in the media industry as far as how things get out there. I mean, like how some of the companies have the newspapers, and they have narrators that just read the newspaper headlines every day. And so it's not really a podcast, but almost it is. You're reading the Wall Street Journal to somebody while they're driving to work. I mean, who would have thought of that 10 years ago?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of the thing about podcasts. There's no real like definition of what it is or what it has to be.
Exactly. And who knows what 10 years from now will bring, things that we can't imagine just yet. Who knows? You guys may be, managing the narration of 3D animation things that float in someone's living room, and
Yeah, we'll
for
take
sure.
it.
Yeah.
then us narrators have to start to look good naked or something. So that's scary. Okay, well, this is the part of the show. I'm gonna bring up my friends that like to come up and enjoy entertaining or meeting with the guests a bit. I've got some guys that live in the house with me here, in addition to my family. They're four leprechauns. They live in my crawl space. They moved in a few years ago, kind of by surprise. And well, I'll just let them come up and do the next part of the discussion here. Boys, you want to come up?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Basil. We've been watching. It's a great interview you're doing. Hi, gentlemen. My name is Feely, and I'm the oldest of the four leprechaun brothers that lives down here in Basil's basement. And this is my brother, Neely. He's the next one to me. Hello, I'm Neely. Nice to meet you. And this is my other brother, Buffin. He's the third brother. I am not a third. You keep calling me that. And this is our youngest brother, Bertold. Hello, I'm Bertold. He's the smart one. Well, you know. Yes, I am actually. Oh, and you forgot to mention Gerald. Gerald's the troll. He's Mr. Basil's butler. If you can imagine a 9-foot-tall, 500-pound butler. He doesn't have a crime problem here, we'll say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, anyway, this is Feely again. My other brother, Buffin, the third brother, would like to ask this question of you. Go ahead, Buffin. Hello, I am Buffin, and I am the third brother. And I have a question that will delve deep into the soul of the staff of Dion Audio.
Well, hello, this is Gerald. You're not going to be delving into the entire staff there, Mr. Boffin, just these four members of the staff.
What? What are you talking about?
Well, you're only talking to the four of them. We can't get them to give the inner workings of the hearts of the other people on the staff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're going to talk to you four guys and get your opinion, and everyone's life will hang in the balance, based on what you say. Good point, Jared. Okay, get on with the interview. Okay, brother. On with the question. The first question is this. Right after this interview, the big one hits California, and you're stuck in your office, which is suddenly a small island in the Pacific Ocean with maybe like an acre around you. You have enough food and water for 4 days for everyone who's at your office right now. But it's mostly Pop-Tarts and microwave mac and cheese and a few cans of beans and weenies. And you've got no power for the microwave, so you're eating that stuff like rugged style, you know.
All right.
After a couple of days with no rescue in sight, 3 options appear before you for your potential rescue. So you got to pay attention to these 3 options here. The first option, an old hippie knocks on your door, then points to a rainbow and says, "Hey man, take this pill and it'll arrange your molecules so you can walk across that rainbow with me back to the mainland." You give him a rather quizzical look. "Well, how do you think I got here, dude?" Option number 2. A beautiful mermaid appears at the shore of your island and says, "Jump in with me, and I will give you magical powers and breathe underwater, and you can swim to shore." But of course, you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean's mermaid. Option number 3. An odd man in a floppy hat and excessively long scarf steps out of a shrub near the house and says, "If you like, you can ride in my telephone booth and get back to the mainland today, eventually. Although it may take several hundred years for us to find today again." And option number 4.
Wait a minute, you said there was only 3 options.
Oh, yeah, well, stuff happens sometimes. There's 4 now. You wait it out and hope help arrives before the food is gone, or you get sick of the Pop-Tarts and old mac and cheese and the beans and weenies is giving several people bad flatulence, and they start considering cannibalism. With those 4 options before you, gentlemen, what will you do? Dun dun dun.
Well, I think we'll have to go with the time travel. Because
Doctor Who reference?
Yeah.
I'm liking the time
I'm
travel.
liking the time travel. I mean, how many opportunities are you going to get for that in your lifetime? You know?
This is true. And, you know, one thing with Doctor Who, unlike most sci-fi heroes, his sidekicks don't typically get killed nastily.
I like that.
Except they're usually attractive women, and, well, you know, there may be a change in your future. Okay, boys, you have anything else you want to ask these gentlemen? Well, they answered that one pretty darn quick. So, but they made sense with their answer. So I guess that means they're pretty smart fellas. Okay, well, you're correct on that. All right, guys, back to whatever you were doing. Oh, we were just drinking beer, so we're okay. Then just sit there and finish your beer. All right, so that was Feely, Neely, Boffin, Bertold, and Gerald, and thank you for entertaining their questions.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you,
Absolutely,
boys.
they're great.
And that said, terrific chat, you guys.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of great information. And how do people get a hold of Dion Audio for say first off, how do they get a hold of you guys for the editing and the mastering and proof and the post-production stuff?
The best way to get a hold of us would be through email. We have our main account is team, TEAM, at dionaudio.com. And that pretty much kind of goes to, I mean, everybody kind of looks at that account, you know, but that's the main one that pretty much all the requests come through.
Okay.
So that's the best way to get a hold of us. And then from there, like one of us will get back to you individually, like from our email address, or we'll write you back from team. But that would be the best way.
Very cool. Very cool. And let's see, do I have any other questions? Do you guys have any other comments that you'd like to make?
Well, first off, thank you for this opportunity. When you mentioned it, and then Jamie shared your idea of doing this podcast, we were like, yeah, this sounds fun.
Yeah,
you know,
super fun.
Thanks for doing it.
That's awesome.
And I think this is a good way of, you know, informing the community and also start knowing what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for that.
Yeah, we'd love to be back again.
Absolutely, absolutely. What and we'll probably hook up again next year at APAC. I remember
Absolutely.
seeing you guys around. You know, it's really hard to meet and greet everybody there. There's a lot of people.
Sure.
Right.
And once you get into the bars, after the first hour and a half, all the faces blend.
Everybody looks the same.
Everybody works everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, terrific. Thank you guys very much. And I'll see some or all of you in New York next year, hopefully, at
Yes.
APAC.
I'll be
And
there.
who knows, maybe along some other route along the way, we'll bump into each other in the Maryland of audiobookdom. And so I guess that's it for today. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one.
All right, you guys too.
Well, that was a bunch of interesting guys there, wasn't it? I wonder, are those guys maybe perhaps like leprechauns like us? I don't think so. They seemed kind of tall to me. Well, they all had beards. Oh, you got a good point there. But anyways, you know that the pictures that were taken in the background there behind Basil and at the intro and right now, those were pictures that were taken at the Eagle River Nature Centre on part of the original Iditarod Trail from like 100+ years ago. Did you know that? I knew that. We were there just last week. That's right. We camped there, and anyone can camp there on the yurts that they have. There's like these round tents on wooden platforms, and they have all these wonderful little mushrooms growing around them. Imagine that. It was time for some delicious mushroom soup, I think. Oh, you collected those while we were there? Oh, yeah, I got a whole bag of them. I don't think we're supposed to eat them. Oh, whoa, hey, guys. Neely, what's wrong with you? I found these mushrooms and whoa, Feely, your face is purple and spotted. Oh my. Uh-oh.
This show is copyright 2016 by Sandman Production Studios and apparently Stoned Leprechaun. Yeah. See you next time.